Welcome to the Monitoring the Environment and Responding to Threats lesson. A security incident is in progress, and Solucell wants to identify the source of the infection, determine the type of malware, then establish a course of action. In this lesson, you follow the Solucell team as they respond to a security incident using the Monitors feature. The Monitors feature includes a summary page to gather the environment's security status. If you identify an anomaly on the summary page, you can detect and respond to new incidents using the Logs tab. After taking action on the incident, use the Command Status page to monitor actions sent to endpoints. For future events, configure notifications to respond to new events proactively. The lesson objectives are shown on the slide. This is the monitoring critical log data using the Summaries page topic. Following Symantec's recommendations, Solucell uses the Summary tab below the Monitors view to display a high-level view of critical log data in the environment. Anthony and Angela review the Summary page to identify virus and spyware protection status of endpoints in the environment. They can also see network and host exploit events for the types of security events that have occurred and top sources of attacks. Anthony and Angela also see whether client computers are within compliance on the Solucell network or confirm the site health status. In this next section, you learn about the different types of information Solucell uses to detect a new incident within the environment. Detecting a new incident can happen in a number of ways. It can be in the form of a help desk call or an anomaly that you see in a SEPM scheduled report. You can also use the summary page for detecting a new incident. The Virus and Spyware Protection Summary page offers a series of reports that provide a snapshot of what is occurring in the environment. Risk distribution reports are used to pinpoint particular risks, domains, servers, computers, and the users that seem to have more problems than others. You can also track the overall distribution of risks. New risks can be used to review newly found risks, who detected them, and which endpoint detected the threat. After you determine the origin of the threat, you establish a plan of action for your incident response team. A plan of action includes checking the policies being used by the client computers, updating virus definitions, and issuing a full system scan. Sonar can help determine specific endpoints that need immediate attention by the security operations team. Sonar detections are heuristic, so if a file is generating a sonar detection, it can mean that a new threat is in the environment. With the risk distribution by group view, you can determine if some client groups are generating more detections than other groups. It can also tell you if there is an active infection in the environment. Based on the information that you find in this view, you may need to review the logs for more details. This slide shows a Virus and Spyware Protection Summary page example. Another way that an incident can be detected is by unusual traffic on the network, or if the threat is taking advantage of a known vulnerability. The Network and Host Exploit Summary page offer a series of different reports that you can use for detecting suspicious activity. Top Targets Attacked by Subnet allows you to organize by groups, subnets, clients, or ports. The report is helpful if you are looking for activity over a particular port or subnet. Attack Event Types is useful when you are recovering from an incident. You can look for new security events and ensure there are no new impacted endpoints. Top Sources of Attacks shows you from where the threat has originated. If there is a threat to the environment that is communicating with a command and control server, you may see detections for the command and control activity display in the view. For example, if you see that a worm is replicating to network shares, enable network-based scanning for your workstations in the Virus and Spyware Protection policy and run a full system scan in the environment. With the command and control server example, you could mitigate by blocking URLs or IP addresses. If you see generic exploit mitigation events on a system, it's possible that you could be dealing with a new threat in the environment. You can learn more information by reviewing the SEP client logs. Security Events by Severity allows you to review the distribution of events by severity and provides you an overall health status of the environment. This slide shows a Network and Host Exploit page example. If you are looking to ensure that your endpoints are secure and successfully running host integrity checks, you use the compliance summary. Failed network compliance status provides a count of clients that tried to connect, but cannot because they were out of compliance. For example, a host integrity policy that contains a requirement that virus definitions can be no more than 3 days out of date. When the client has outdated virus definitions, host integrity does not allow the endpoint to connect. Compliance status distribution displays computers that have failed their host integrity check. This type of report is helpful for identifying groups or systems that may need manual remediation. It can point to a bigger problem such as an active threat that is trying to disable antivirus software or a misconfigured policy. Clients by Compliance Failure Summary shows you the failure rate of each requirement such as antivirus, firewall, or VPN. If you see a high failure rate with a particular requirement, it may be an excellent opportunity to enable verbose logging and take a closer look at the host integrity policy. Verbose logging is a computer logging mode that records more information than the usual logging mode. You enable verbose logging in the host integrity policy under Advanced Settings. You can also use the compliance failure details to review your host integrity setup. The report analyzes the failure rate of individual checks that comprise a host integrity requirement. For example, it can display the clients that do not have antivirus installed separately from clients with out-of-date definitions. This slide shows a compliance page example. If you have multiple SEPMs in a site or a replication setup for Symantec sites across multiple regions, the site health status provides you with a snapshot of your environment. Use the site status to review the overall health of the site and click to see a full report. Depending on the information that you see in the report, you may need to look at the logs for more details. Top error generators by server and top error generators by client shows a summary of top systems that generated errors and warnings. Replication failures over time enables you to monitor your replication partners and ensure that replication completed successfully over a given time period. For more information on monitoring site health, see the links listed on the slide. This slide shows a site health page example. This is the Identifying New Incidents Using the Logs page topic. Solucell uses the Logs tab to review client computer activity and the computer's interaction with other networks. Angela and Anthony can also analyze the overall security status of the environment and modify the level of protection for client computers. They can also review trends related to virus or attacks. If they see a frequent offender in the logs, the security operations team can educate the user on security best practices. Angela and Anthony can also respond to new incidents from the logs view. They can run commands such as starting a scan or updating content on a client computer. If Solucell is encountering a false positive, Angela and Anthony can add several types of exceptions to an existing or new policy. This is the Creating and Saving Filter Settings subtopic. SEPM filter settings are helpful as a log reduction tool. Use filters to establish metrics of what you are looking for and eliminate non-essentials. In the Solucell example, they are using the SEPM logs to identify an incident in progress. But this type of output can also be used to determine weak areas in the environment. You can determine if there are gaps in the protection of endpoints, gather security statistics, or locate risky users. This information can be used to strengthen your SEPM policies, build security awareness training, or provide reports to management. But before generating logs, filters serve as a metric for the data analysis. Use the filter settings to identify unremediated detections in the risk logs for incident response. In this example, Solucell is creating a filter that is searching for left alone detections. When a detection shows a result of left alone, it means that SEP was unable to remediate the threat. There are multiple causes for left alone detections. You can learn more about how to respond to them using the KB shown on the slide. Another indicator of an incident in progress is a flux of suspicious detections from sonar. In this example, Solucell is creating a filter that is looking for suspicious detections. If sonar is flagging a file as suspicious, it is possible that Solucell is dealing with a new threat. To learn more about how you can use sonar to combat a malware outbreak, see the Symantec Connect article shown on the slide. If you know the attack source for the infection, you can create a filter to identify malicious traffic in the environment and the targeted endpoints. In this example, Solucell entered the attack source in the remote IP field and specified the time range for the last week. All three filters will be used in the next subtopic when Anthony and Angela review SEPM logs to identify an incident in progress. To learn more about how you can use the Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager to identify infected computers, see the KB article shown on the slide. This is the Analyze the Log Details for Incident Response subtopic. Reviewing logs provides you with a timeline of what is happening on your endpoints so you can respond to new incidents. Use the logs to verify that protection technologies are enabled, review new detections, and respond to at-risk or infected computers. Use the computer status logs to identify clients that need protection technologies enabled or other types of remediation. The computer status logs are used to find infected endpoints and other critical information. You must review the computer status logs on a regular basis to discover new incidents as well as ensure that risks are remediated or removed from impacted endpoints. On this slide, Solucell is using the Risk Logs Needs Attention filter to discover left-alone detections in the environment. The output shows that WCWS01 generated multiple left-alone entries that point to the same file and executable. To learn more about the detection, highlight an entry and click Details. Use the Risk Details to identify client group information and the IP address in case you need to do more manual remediation. You see the actions used by the SEP client to respond to the threat. The risk reputation shows you when the file was first seen and provides a rating. In the instance of WCWS01, the detection indicates a potential policy misconfiguration issue. When reviewing the computer status logs, advanced download protection was malfunctioning, which can explain why there was no information in the risk reputation section. On this slide, Solucell is using the Sonar Needs Attention filter to identify suspicious activity in the environment. The output shows a file-generated detections on 3 different endpoints. The entries point to the same path and executable. To learn more about the detection, highlight an entry and click Details. In the Sonar Details, you identify critical information about the risk, including the path and file hash. Symantec Endpoint Protection 14 offers SHA-256 support for the file hash. Use the hash to see if the file is being used in the environment or gather more information on sites like VirusTotal. The Sonar Details show the actions used to determine whether the SEP client was successful in remediating the detection. In the instance of WCWS01, the detection indicates a potential policy misconfiguration issue. The risk reputation shows whether the Symantec community has seen the file and if it needs to be submitted. On this slide, Solucell is using the View Attack Source filter to identify malicious traffic in the environment and the targeted endpoints. The attack logs show the type of activity between the client and the attacking computer. In this example, there are many detections by the same client computer, WCWS01. Highlight an entry and click Details to learn more about the detection. In the attack details, identify critical information about the system, including OS and client group details. You also determine whether the activity is legitimate or malicious. In this example, WCWS01 detected a port scan from the attacking server. Solucell's findings from the Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager include: computer status logs show individual protection technologies disabled or malfunctioning on WCWS01, WCWS02, and WCW S03. Risk logs display multiple left-alone detections from WCW S01 that can indicate a potential policy configuration issue. There are multiple suspicious detections for newdropeicar.exe in the sonar logs. From the attacks log, a significant amount of malicious traffic is seen on WCW S01, including port scans from the attacking server. Based on Anthony and Angela's findings, Solucell is moving forward with the following plan of action. In the computer status logs, Anthony and Angela enable protection technologies on all impacted endpoints. Next, they issue an update content and scan command that is dispatched to all computers. Solucell also reviews the virus and spyware policy. If detections reoccur on WCW S01 after the scan, Anthony or Angela will run Power Eraser from the SEPM. They also use the information in the sonar logs to add newdropeicar.exe as an application to monitor in the exceptions policy. By adding newdropeicar.exe as an application to monitor, they can determine how many clients are using the file and whether to block or allow the file in the environment. Management will review the virus and spyware policy to determine whether Angela and Anthony need to reconfigure sonar. Based on the findings in the attack logs, Solucell will block the IP address for the attacking computer. Regarding Solucell's plan to run Power Eraser if detections reoccur, use Power Eraser when the risk log shows a failed repair and recommends that you run Power Eraser. You may also run Power Eraser when a computer appears to have a severe infection. It is important to note that the analysis is more aggressive than your typical virus scan. It can be prone to false positives, so use Power Eraser carefully. For more information on Power Eraser, see the KB listed on the slide. In this demonstration, you learn how Solucell uses their findings to execute a plan of action from the SEPM. This includes running commands on clients for incident response.
Welcome to this video walkthrough, where we'll observe how you can use the Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager to respond to an incident in progress. Meet Anthony and Angela, Solucell's SEP administrators. The SEP team received notification of an incident using the Monitors feature. They were able to view the incident in progress in the logs, as well as identify some weak areas in the environment. Solucell has the following findings from the Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager. The computer status logs show individual protection technologies disabled or malfunctioning on WCW S01, WCW S02, and WCW S03. The risk logs display left-alone detections from WCW S01, which can indicate a potential policy configuration issue. There are also suspicious detections for newdropeicar.exe in the sonar logs. From the attack logs, Solucell sees a significant amount of malicious traffic from WCW S01, including port scans from the attacking server. Based on Anthony and Angela's findings, Solucell is moving forward with the following plan of action. In the computer status logs, Anthony and Angela plan to enable protection technologies on all impacted endpoints. Then an update content and scan command will be dispatched to the client computers. Based on the findings in the risk logs, Solucell will do a review of the virus and spyware protection policy. If detections reoccur after the scan, Anthony or Angela will run Power Eraser from the Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager. Solucell will use the information in the sonar logs to add newdropeicar.exe as an application to monitor in the exceptions policy. By adding newdropeicar.exe as an application to monitor, they can determine how many clients are using the file and whether or not to block or allow the file in the environment. Solucell will also do a review of the virus and spyware protection policy to determine whether Angela and Anthony need to reconfigure sonar. Based on the findings in the attack logs, Solucell will block the IP address for the attacking computer. In this next section, I'll go through the tasks to perform in the Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager when responding to computer status log findings. In the Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager, I'll navigate to the Monitors view and click on the Logs tab. Computer status is already selected for the log type, so I'm ready to click on View Log. In the computer status logs, I can see that WCW SO1, WCW SO2, and WCW SO3 all show advanced protection as malfunctioning or disabled. Since I don't have the ability to enable advanced protection specifically, I'll issue a restart command on all three computers. The restart will cycle the Symantec Endpoint Protection Client services, which will bring all protection technologies back online. I'll monitor this process from the Computer Status tab. When issuing a restart command, a confirmation will appear asking if you're sure about sending the action to the client. Click OK to proceed. When issuing a restart command from the Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager, the feature offers you the ability to customize the request. In this example, I'll choose a forced restart with the reboot to happen immediately. But in production, you may decide to send it during a particular change window or non-business hours. You can do this with the Customize option, even choosing for a prompt to appear with a personalized message. There are other options as well to tailor the feature for your organization's needs. For more information on this topic, see How To 80830. After clicking OK, a notification will appear showing that the SEPM sent the command to the clients. Click OK again to return to the main screen. You can monitor the actions being received by the clients in the Command Status tab. You can see who issued the command, the type of command, a description, and the affected clients. The SEPM will refresh periodically to give you an updated view of what is happening on the clients. You can also highlight the entry and click on the details to learn more. I can see that the restart command was successful. It shows a status of received and a success flag under details. Once the status shifts to completed, the client should be ready for an update content and scan command. I see the restarted clients show that all protection technologies are enabled. I'll highlight the clients, select Update Content and Scan from the menu dropdown, and then click Start. A prompt will appear asking if I want to run an active scan or a full scan. In this instance, I will select a full scan and click OK. When issuing a restart command, a confirmation will appear asking if you're sure about sending the action to the client. Click OK to proceed. After clicking OK, a notification will appear showing that the SEPM sent the command to the clients. Click OK again to return to the main screen. On the Command Status view, I can see that the command has been received and is in progress. After the scan finishes, the status will change to complete. In this next section, I'll go through the tasks to perform in the Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager when responding to risk log findings. In Solucel's environment, risk logs displayed many left-alone detections from WCW SO1. Looking in the details, the primary action is to quarantine, with the secondary action set to left alone. According to Symantec best practices, the recommendation is to quarantine and delete for security risk detections. For more information on this topic, see Tech 173752. To review the policy, I'll click on Policies, then select Virus and Spyware Protection. Select the Virus and Spyware Protection policy and click Edit. In the policy, navigate to AutoProtect under Protection Technology and then select the Actions tab. I'll view Security Risk to see the actions used by AutoProtect. I'll check Override Actions configured for security risks and change the subsequent action to Delete Risk. Then I'll click OK to exit the policy. In this next section, I'll go through the tasks to perform in the Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager when responding to sonar log findings. In the sonar logs, the output shows that new dropicar.exe generated detections on 3 different endpoints. The entries point to the same path and executable. In the details, both the primary and the secondary actions show left alone in the results. The left alone actions is an indicator that Solucell needs to review the virus and spyware protection policy. The actions for Sonar show that both high-risk and low-risk detections are set to log only. Symantec recommends an action of quarantine for high-risk detections. Click OK to save the changes and exit out of the policy. To add newdropicar.exe as an application to monitor, browse to Exceptions under Policies and select the exception policy. On the Exceptions policy page, browse to Exceptions. Click Add under Windows Exceptions and select Application to Monitor. In the dialog, I'll type newdropicar.exe and then click Add and OK. As the Symantec Endpoint Protection Client learns more about the application will appear in the SEPM. You can then determine if it's an application that you want to block or permit. For more information on this topic, see How-To 80924. In this next section, I'll go through the tasks to perform in the Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager when responding to attack log findings. In the attack logs, Solucell discovered a significant amount of malicious traffic between WCW S01 and the attacking server. The details show critical information about the system, including the OS and the client group details. Solucell can use this information to identify the firewall and intrusion prevention policy utilized by the endpoint. They can also see the type of activity, including the IP address of the attacking server. All of the entries for WCW S01 show the attacking server. This information will be used to create a new rule in the firewall policy. To create a new firewall rule, browse to Firewall under Policies and select the firewall policy. Click Edit. In the firewall policy, browse to Rules and click on Add Blank Rule. Change the name to Block Attack Server and the action to Block. Double-click on Host to add the attack server's IP address. I'll choose the source and destination radio button so I can specify the IP address to block. I'll add the IP address to block all incoming and outgoing traffic associated with the IP address. If you'd like to learn more about how to use the Symantec firewall to block malicious traffic, see Tech 94571. The policy has been updated with the new firewall rule and is ready for production. Click OK to proceed. In this video, you learned how to send commands from the command status view to respond to at-risk endpoints. You also learned about Symantec best practices and how to respond to left-alone detections by reviewing the virus and spyware protection policy. After examining the risk logs, you learned how to add an application to monitor in the centralized exceptions policy and update the actions that Sonar uses to respond to threats. Finally, you learned how to add a firewall rule using the findings in the attack logs. For more information about topics discussed in this video, refer to the resources listed on the slide and remember to check the Symantec support site frequently. Thank you for viewing this video.
This is the running commands on client computers from the SEPM logs subtopic. Use SEPM commands to manage and respond to incidents remotely from the SEPM. The Update Content Scan command updates content by initiating a live update session and running an on-demand scan on client computers. Use Power Eraser for more severe infections or when the risk logs show a failed repair. If you have upgraded clients to a new version of SEP or recently installed an update, you can issue a restart command from the SEPM. You can also enable protection technologies that include AutoProtect, Network Threat Protection, and Download Insight. If you are recovering from an outbreak, you can issue a Delete from Quarantine command that deletes quarantined files on client computers. For systems recently patched and using system lockdown, you can issue a collect file fingerprint list command. The file fingerprint list ensures that system lockdown has an updated configuration for clients running in whitelist mode. The computer status logs enable you to respond to client computers remotely, updating content on computers with virus and spyware definitions that are out of date, identifying infected machines that need both content updates as well as a full system scan, running Power Eraser remotely to resolve issues with heavily infected computers and monitor the system status from the SEPM, reviewing the operational status of client computers and enable protection technologies, running a file fingerprint list command on recently patched client computers and implement system lockdown. Use the risk logs to free up additional disk space by removing files from quarantine. You can also dispatch Power Eraser on infected computers to determine whether to delete, restore, or ignore risks detected by Power Eraser. For more information on this topic, see the KB listed on the slide. This is the monitoring actions sent to clients using the command status view topic. Now that Solucell has responded to the incident using the logs view, they can monitor the actions sent to the impacted clients. If another SEP administrator in the organization sent commands to an endpoint, Anthony and Angela can also follow those activities. Activities include the date and time of the issued command, who issued the action, and the type of event. They can also verify the current status, which clients were affected, and if any need further remediation. Monitor actions sent to clients on the command status view. You can see which SEP administrators sent the command, a description of the command, the number of clients affected, and the completion status. For more information, click Details and drill down for additional information. The command status details show critical information such as the IP address and the user. You see whether the action is completed or is in progress. This is the Configuring Notifications topic. After verifying that the clients have received the issued commands from the SEPM, Solucell can create notifications that will notify the Solucell team of new events. You can view information from notifications in the same way that you can see logs. The event and the action create the notification. Notifications proactively notify you of a security event that has taken place in your environment. You can create notifications for the following alerts. New risk detection triggers whenever virus and spyware scans detected a new risk. You can filter by the risk name and risk severity if you want to learn about a particular threat. You can also have it filter by left alone so that you have a list of client computers that need remediation. Risk outbreak notification is helpful if you want to learn of a new incident taking place in the environment. Set the number and types of occurrences of new risks and the period in which they must occur to trigger the notification. Types of events include occurrences on any computer, occurrences on a single computer, or occurrences on a distinct system. Single risk event notifies you upon detection of a single risk event and provides details on the risk. Like with the new risk detection notification, you can filter by the risk name and risk severity if you want to learn about a particular threat. You can also have it filter by all actions failed, so that you have a list of client computers that need remediation. For all notifications, specify the type, severity, and frequency of events that determine when these notifications are triggered. Some of these occurrence types require that you also enable logging in the associated policy. To learn more information about how to configure notifications, see the KB listed on the slide. Configure alerts on the SEPM so that you are notified of a potential security incident or when manual remediation is necessary. Solucell system administrators will now receive an email whenever left-alone events occur. The SEP team can then take a closer look to determine if a new incident is in progress. See the Symantec Connect article listed on the slide. This slide shows a notifications page example. This slide summarizes the lesson. For more information about the topics discussed in this lesson, refer to the resources listed on the slide, and remember to frequently check the Symantec Support website.